Alright everyone, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're finally reaching the high point of the trial. It's getting real intense right now, so we're going to see how this thing comes out. So with all that said guys, hope you all continue to watching, and let's do this. So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago. And on that night of Mr. Windibank's murder, the only item on the shelf that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, quick, let's open it and see what's inside. Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow. Although in truth I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc deposited at Windibank's at much the same time. That's strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last. Hold it! Wait, my lord. Good grief. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in that courtroom with some silly bit of music. Objection! This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it is fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no! That piece of evidence is police property now. Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here. But it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Ah! No further delays, please. Play the disc. What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No. SOS? It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Mr. Graydon? This really is priceless. He really needs to stop doing that. It's like so out of place. After all of that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised. If the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Come on. Yes, alright, it does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue? No, it's a new clue. It might not be music, it might be a signal. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel, mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I agree. There's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh? Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? It's the defense belief that the sound emanating from this music box is broken and unusual genre. Not supposed to, yeah, it's not supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. We're onto something. I'm on the right lines here, I must be. Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runa.
Objection!
The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is yet. Runo? I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Ah! Could it be? I missed out on that. Hold on a second. Let's go back to the history. Is that what these sounds are? There you go. Something's just struck me, Runa. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like the one this music box makes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, counsel? All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm gonna get to fight back in this trial. I'm right. It's gonna join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds in this music box is this. Hold on a second. It would be today's paper. There's a sensational story lowered down the front page as well. Look. Ministry mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted, but how would somebody be doing that? That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career, Runa? No, of course not. I wonder, perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be, and it could explain why he has Gregsy running from pillar to post at the moment. Details of today's paper have been updated in the court record. Okay. Then, if they're talking about different communications in this paper,
Take that!
Today's paper, Council. The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pick-Purse Plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down? Ministry mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I've heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. So a coded message. And presumably those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams. Of course. Juror number 5, your input please. Stop. Oh, me sir? Whatever's the matter. You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh, yes. We're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madam. Morse code. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Order! Order! Please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, Council, deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason? And what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know. For a sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished and the ill-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. Because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it, and in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank. That being a most flagitious? Oh man, that's a hard word for me. Hold on. To pronounce at least. Flagitious offense? Alright, let's start this over. That being the most flagitious offense for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less a serious crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let's proceed. You gotta let us have a rabbit, pork, and governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon, who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skokin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skokin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right. We're what they call the Three Skokin Brothers. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. Alright, witness testimony time. Graydon's counter. A mere communications officer couldn't possibly deal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I have no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into the gap the other night like what you told us to do. If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. One Mr. will do, Governor. What's up? Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question, you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here? We did, Gov. We did. That was odd, but okay. Quiet down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these 2 ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight-up job. What about the geezer whose shop it was, huh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it into the court record as evidence. Okay, cross-examination time. A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. There was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I have no relation to that man. Look, all we done is break into the gap the other night, like what he told us to do. If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Alright. All of a sudden, we seem to be up our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although, all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Windibanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the 2 men somehow. I know. And Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to us making headway with the cross-examination here could be those two brothers. I was gonna say troublemakers, but you know, not entirely wrong. Okay. Besides, the sounds produced by this box aren't Morse code. Hold it! They're not. To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to that music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked by my ignorance. Ha ha. I'll be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A. And this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear 1 tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. That is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? that music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Stop. Nothing to say but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Iris, I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely. Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box somehow to play back Morse code? I want to give it a try. There's still every possibility that the music box was instrumental in leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code, 2 tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages into Morse code? Okay, so I get to look around with this music box now, huh? Oh, what is that over here? Oh, what is it, Bruno? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. Ah, you're right. Well, come on then. What are you waiting for? Let's open it. Alright then, here goes. Look at that. There's another movement on the underside. So, does that mean we can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. And it looks like the 2 movements are linked together. They're linked? So if you had 2 discs, they would both play back at the same time. Interesting. Alright then. Hold on a second. And... got it! Good gracious! What am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the 2 movements are linked together. In other words, you can put 2 discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time. Good heavens! As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of 2 tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus room with Gilda 2 months ago striking a deal over the discs, or... no, disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue. The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere. But I haven't found it yet. Oh dear, it looks like you need to give your argument more strength, you know. You'll reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon. If I must, though I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. It was some low brickmaker negotiating with Gilded anyway, was it not? I have no relation to the man. So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilda killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan quarter some years ago, but people there remembered little about him. It doesn't make much sense though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? How indeed. There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason. And in order to take it to the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal. Dear me. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. If you have nothing more to add to that on that note, let us return to the witness testimony. Look, all we've done is break into the gaff the other night, what he told us to do. Alright, we're gonna have to go through all this again. Hold on a second. All of a sudden we seem to yell. And let's go. Let's go through every single one of them again. Alright. Produce music box. Some low-class brickmaker. Breaking into the gap the other night like what he told us to do. Okay. Hold it! Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it, yeah. Who else, huh? Silly me thought he was just popping over for a natter after all them years, but the rotter had a dodgy job for us. Ash? Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know. Sure, let's say Graydon's in old China. And speaking of that, someone reacted. What's up with you, brother? I'm waiting for it to give me the choice. Come on. There it is. Excuse me! Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who? Me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together with Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash, I mean. Yeah, look at him now and his fancy whistle and flute, and you wouldn't add him and leave it. But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town just like us. Is that so? But he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. Gor blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? That was a corker, huh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And he was answered. Yeah, and we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Yeah, let's add it to the testimony. My lord? Yes? The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case. Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Say no more, a Skulkin's never spoken. Okay, Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, gore them were the days. Hold it! I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals, that's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? I'm assuming the business name. So this business was just a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved? Yeah, that's it. Where'd the fruit come from? Milverton and Milverton and Skokin's milk run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from? Oh, right. I thought I covered... Enough of this. How much longer are we... Yes! Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well... It weren't the happiest of homes that one came from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much his wife walked out on him. She took the name Graydon then, see? But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton. So, that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves, You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Gah! Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable, for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Very well. Yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things and could turn out to be extremely important. Alright, it's been added to the record. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video for today. Thank you all for watching. This has been pretty crazy.